Hey everybody, it is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is called Mars into Scorpio, Feel the Burn. And on October 12th, Mars is going to ingress into Scorpio and will be there till November 24th, basically taking us through the rest of Libra season, all of Scorpio season, and then a couple days there into Sagittarius season. So will be a very empowering transit, I feel, for some people, but I also feel like this year has already been very intense, and we're going to have 2 eclipses in October. So Mars into Scorpio does bring intensity, and some people may be wondering, this year has been really intense already. I don't know if I can handle any more intensity. So I want to put that, message out there, because I do think the Mars into Scorpio, Mars is in domicile in Scorpio. Mars loves to be in Scorpio, and Scorpio can really handle Mars and has the ability to set Mars on a, focused action for completing things and finishing things. It also may be a period of time when people are feeling like more, for those of you especially that have, if this transit is hitting your chart in a very strong way, you may start feeling really energized or physically energized as well, which I hope so, because I feel like this year's been, the Saturn in Pisces has been draining, I feel like, for a lot of people. And so is the Neptune in Pisces, like the Saturn Neptune. It's a tough, we got tough stuff happening this year, I feel. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you're like, I'm sick of the intensity, I can't take it anymore, maybe use this time to go within and work on your own self, right? And work on the core of you and work on strengthening yourself. And I was going to call this video Lead Us Not Into Temptation, Mars into Scorpio, but I thought that was a little too biblical, and perhaps some of us want to be led into temptation during this Mars into Scorpio transit. Wink, wink, wink. Weaking to death over here. And perhaps you're like, times have been a little boring for me. I'd like to be led into temptation. So that's another thing. Mars in Scorpio could be leading some people into temptation, but could also be leading other people not into temptation, in the fact that they become even more focused and driven about what it is that they're trying to do. And of course, temptation is defined as a desire to engage in short-term urges for enjoyment that can threaten our long-term goals, which, Mars into Scorpio is pretty good at ignoring what temptations come up and just focusing on the issue at hand. But I also feel there may be some, sexy temptations out there as well, which we can't discount those now, can we? And I also just wanted to read you guys a quote from William Butler Yeats. And the quote, I'm just giving you part of the quote here, but the quote is, "Every trial endured and weathered in the right spirit makes a soul nobler and stronger than it was before." And that's a very like Mars and Scorpio type of a statement there. Every trial endured and weathered in the right spirit makes a person nobler and stronger than before. So I do like that as well with Mars and Scorpio. I mean, we could become consumed with our temptations, or we can, and that's where there is this kind of like, with Mars and Scorpio, I think you're either doing something balls to the wall or you're not. There's no gray area. Really, it's a black and white type of a thing. And we may see people taking like some very black and white type of actions over, like, no room for misinterpretation. That person threw that, vase at the wall. They just did what they did. There's really no other interpretation for that. And so, we may see some stuff like that, hopefully not, but Mars in Scorpio, very intense, very focused on getting what it wants. And So we will see, And I have 3 piles here to choose from, and we're going to dive deeper into what this Mars in Scorpio transit has in store for you. And, you know, maybe some of your own concerns as we look at Mars moving into Scorpio. For those of you that actually have Mars in Scorpio in your natal chart, you're having a Mars return. So that'll, you know, Mars returns about every 2 years. And so that's big energy as well for you. Yeah, and for those of you having birthdays, like for those of you Scorpios having birthdays, you will have a very strong Mars in your chart this year, in your solar return chart. Every year we get a new chart on our birthday that basically shows the energies at the moment that we were born, except at our age right now. And basically, it's like you get a fresh new chart every year when you're at your solar return. And so my solar return Scorpios that are, you know, Sun and Scorpios having birthdays coming up over the next month or so, your Mars is going to be really strong this year in your solar return chart. So I'm really happy for my Scorpios, because hopefully it gives you a lot of staying power, which I know that you love a lot. And never say die, right? And the other thing, I just was getting a couple intuitive messages as I was shuffling out the cards. And the intuitive messages that I got for somebody in particular here, particularly if your name starts with a C, or you are involved with someone with a C name, or you're very close, you know, first name, last name, but the letter C, okay? And the message I was getting was that your intuition is spot on, okay, about something. Like your intuition is right on, and don't second guess yourself. So I was definitely getting that message as I was, and we'll get deeper into it, I'm sure, in the piles. And you can always listen to more than one pile if you feel so inclined. And we are going to go ahead and get into it today. So we have pile number 1, which is represented by the red pepper. We have pile number 2, which is represented by the eggplant. And pile number 3 represented by the pumpkin. And we will be taking a look at this Mars and Scorpio transit for you and what it has in store. This is your tarot forecast for Mars in Scorpio. You can go directly to the description box below and choose your pile. Timestamps will be there. And just take a moment, if you will, to take a deep breath, cleanse your energy, sit up straight, get that posture right, get those shoulders down, get to feeling, you know, very proud and popular and strong, like a general commanding his or her field force. Okay, so we're gonna get into it today, and take a deep breath and think, do I feel like pile number 1 with the red pepper? Do I feel like the eggplant, pile number 2? Or do I feel like the pumpkin, pile number 3? Okay, and I'm gonna ring a bell here. We're gonna go ahead and get into your reading. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate any likes, shares, or subscribes. Thank you so much for all the love. And if you're wanting an astrology reading, natal chart, details are below for how to request one. It's a really nice birthday gift to give to yourself if you have a birthday coming up, or for a friend too. And for those of you that would like to request a personal reading with me, details are below. So let's go ahead and get into pile number 1. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the red pepper, and today's reading is looking at Mars in Scorpio, October 12th to November 24th, and I'm calling the video Feel the Burn, okay? And this could be a good burn or a bad burn. You know, that burn that you feel when you're working out, you get those endorphins coming in real hard. Ooh, that's the good burn. And then the bad burn is when you've got a rash and you're like, what is this burning rash from? So pile number 1, we are going to go ahead and get into it, my darlings, and let's find out what is coming your way for this Mars in Scorpio transit. Let's do it, my darlings. Let's go ahead and see. Spirit, what do you have to say to pile number 1 regarding this Mars in Scorpio transit? Okay, you guys chose the red pepper. You guys like spicy food. Let's see, for pile number 1, spice it up. Mars into Scorpio. What is the message? 9 of Wands just popped out there to say hello. Definitely spiritual warrior energy. Let's go ahead and see, which of course Mars in Scorpio is very much a spiritual warrior for sure. Let's see here. Let's see here. Spirit, what say you? There we go. You gotta be patient. It was so funny. I was looking at my comments. I always read all my comments and somebody's like, hurry up and get to the reading. And I'm like, people are so impatient, you know? And they're so nasty. Like, leave it to yourself, right? But anyway, so pile number 1, here we are, my loves. You have the Prince of Wands, which in this deck represents the Knight of Wands. And you see this beautiful hunk of a man riding a lion. And actually, he's not riding the lion. The lion is pulling his chariot and very determined, facing things head on, take no prisoners, very athletic. You know, the Knight of Wands is extremely athletic and really keeps that fire burning. And so right away, for those of you that are wanting some sexy, hot, chiseled, muscled, passionate, driving force to come into your life, here we go. Pile number 1, here we go. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here. We have the dolphin spirit. This and that are true, okay? So that's interesting for Mars and Scorpio, because Mars and Scorpio is definitely not like that. Mars and Scorpio is like, no, only this is true and the rest of that is bullshit, you know? So I also feel like Spirit is saying keep an open mind during this Mars and Scorpio transit, okay? Try to keep an open mind about your life and what's going on in your life. We have the Sovereign. Okay, I love that. That's very Mars and Scorpio. Like, I am a sovereign being and I have the right to make my choices. Good for you, pile number 1. We have denial, detach with love, clearly to see the truth. And, you know, that's interesting with the this and that are true. Okay. And, you know, I love the dolphin spirit, but it may also kind of cloud our judgment a little bit, because it's like, well, a little bit of this, and that's true in life. That's often true. Like this and that are true. Like this thing is true. That thing is true. Everything's true. What's true? Okay. So I really think you guys are going to be thinking a lot about, you know, how do I really feel about this, or how do I really feel about this certain situation in my life? And I kind of feel like you guys are saying, I need to stop lying to myself about a particular situation. And Mars and Scorpio is really good for just, you know, balls to the wall, like facing the truth of a situation and like really locking in on your perspective. You know, I know that goes against what I said about keeping an open mind. So I feel you kind of are in a dance with this. On one hand, you want to keep an open mind. On the other hand, you don't want to be lying to yourself about anything in your life. And we have second chance. This relationship deserves a second chance. Oh boy. Okay. And maybe you're like, you know what? And maybe you have a habit. Maybe I got some air signs up in this energy, pile number 1, or you get back and forth on things. Or I got some water people, I'm guessing too, with this dolphin spirit, water sign people. But perhaps you're a little bit this or you're a little bit that, maybe a little bit of Pisces energy going on in this pile too, where it's like, you know, giving people the benefit of the doubt and being like, you know, maybe it wasn't that bad, or should I give him another chance? Or, you know, with this Sovereign card here, I feel like Spirit is saying what makes you feel like most in control of your life. Like what decision makes you really feel like you're taking the reins of life and leading yourself down a direction of a positive path. And Mars and Scorpio encourages strength, not weakness. So I kind of feel like you guys are like, you know, I was giving someone the benefit of doubt. I was keeping an open mind to them. I was giving them, because that's what quote unquote good girls or good boys do. You know, I was giving them second chances. I was, you know, this and thatting a person in my head and going back and forth on something. And I kind of feel like this issue really comes up during Mars in Scorpio period from October 12th to November 24th, because you really start to dig your heels in and you're like, no, this isn't Burger King. You can't have it your way all the time. Like, sometimes it's what I want, and sometimes you need to listen to me. And I see you guys taking that, and I love that energy. God, I love me some strong Scorpio energy. Like, it's fierce, you know? It's like, no, 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 you're gonna listen to me this time. I'm not gonna sit here and blah, 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 this BS, okay? And we have here, I know my shadow side and I work to willingly transform aspects of it. Moon goddess Hecate. So Hecate is going to be very close to you guys. The moon goddess Hecate during this period. Of course, Mars is going to be in Scorpio during Halloween. I'm getting chills. I love it. It's a wonderful time for magic and like reaffirming who you are and reaffirming your power and your right to make decisions that are sovereign for you. And Hecate ain't no, you know, ain't no one's little punk. Hecate is a very powerful moon goddess. And I feel like it's so funny right now. I feel like I'm looking across the room and I'm seeing like writing on the wall that says kiss B. Okay, K-I-S-B or kiss B. And so perhaps, you know, and I'm seeing A and B letters on my wall. It's very weird. I probably should be committed, pile number one, but A and B, okay? And it's like this and that are true. And yeah, so I feel this is coming out under this dolphin spirit. So I feel like you guys are like really sweet people, really caring, very intuitive, loving, psychic, very emotionally intelligent, I feel. Pile number one. I feel like you guys pride yourself on being emotionally intelligent, being able to stand in other people's shoes. And because of that, you may give people who are misbehaving or a little more leeway, which, you know, I mean, I feel that I get it. You know, pile number one, I'm a Taurus, so I have to, like, you know, sometimes I have to throw the hammer down, us fixed energy people. It's like, no, you know, we really gotta help our mutable folks, like, you know. And I love it. I love an open mind. I love the ability to change. I love all of that. But maybe some of you guys know here that you do kind of have a shadow side sometimes of kind of like allowing things or waffling a little bit on something. And, you know, I kind of feel like you guys are like, I'm not doing that anymore. No, I'm not doing that anymore. And I love that. I love that energy for you guys. Ooh, Mars. I love it. Hello. And Mars is coming out under this sovereign card right here. And I feel like, you know, here's the thing, pile number one, like, you know, Mars in Scorpio could also be very intense and angry. And sometimes we can kind of turn that in on ourselves, like blaming ourselves. Like, why didn't I do something about that? Why didn't I see that? Why didn't I act sooner? Like, you know, if you're feeling that way towards yourself, you know, definitely give yourself the same level of compassion that you give to other people, if not more. Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that can feel very selfish, you know, and Mars energy, sometimes really heavy Martian energy can feel like very selfish at times. Like this other person, like, has a huge ego and they think that they're the best all the time, or they think they can tell me what to do, or they think, and perhaps some of you grew up around, you know, brothers or like very powerful personalities who would like boss you around, or you had older siblings that would do that, or you had a father that was very like demanding. I'm just seeing like perhaps some of you have had some men, because Mars signifies men. Perhaps some of you have had some men in your life that have been like very confident, boastful, sure of themselves, perhaps, you know, sexy. Again, we've got the very chiseled body going on here. And, you know, perhaps some of you are really attracted to that confidence, like athleticism, confidence, owning your shit. Like perhaps you guys are really into that. And, you know, this person comes back. We have this second chance card here. They come back and they're like, hey, you know, and they're very like, Mars can be very persuasive too. It's like, give me another chance, you know, like, let's talk. I want another chance. And, you know, and when you see this person kind of like taking action and doing things, it makes you feel like, oh, okay, I'm important to this person. Like they want to see me, or they want to talk to me, or they want to spend time. And, you know, Mars is all about action. Less talk, more action. And, you know, perhaps this person, there's a person in your life who's been really good at convincing you of things. But I kind of feel like you guys are like, I don't want to, you know, and you may be kind of going back and forth on this issue during this Mars ingress into Scorpio over the next, you know, month and 2 months or whatever it's going to be. You guys may be like, you know, thinking about this person putting on the, you know, putting on the pressure, or telling you like, hey, I know, you know, with Mars, there could be some arguments as well with people, pile number one. And I don't mean just like people, like this could be people at work, this could be family, friends, etc. And, you know, before we all go running and hiding our head in the sands and wandering off into the distance with a beer in our hand, like we got to face the music here a little bit, pile number one. And, you know, perhaps you guys are realizing during this Mars ingress into Scorpio, like, you know, I keep giving this person at work like multiple chances to like be a better person and to be caring and kind. And all they do is really like ram me, boss me around, go behind my back. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of these backstabbers. I'm sick of people thinking they can get one over on me. So I feel like you guys are kind of like, yeah, no, it's not happening anymore. With, if you find this energy, we have development here, gradual progress, continuity, slowly but surely, adaptability, a time-honored approach. And I kind of feel like you guys are very patient, and perhaps, you know, like I said, the Knight of Wands is not very patient. Look, the Knight of Wands is right there with the Queen of Wands. Okay, so that's interesting. And perhaps with this patient, perhaps you're not always patient, pile number one, but with this particular situation, you've had to be very patient because there's been like no other way to really go about it. And, you know, developing patience and is a good thing. I feel like it's a really good thing in life to develop some patience for things and to be adaptable. Like those are very good. And maybe your guys's time-honored approach is to be adaptable and is to seek continuity and seek gradual progress in things, and to give people the benefit of the doubt, because it's like, you know, everybody screws up, like things happen. And I just feel like the next 3 years of your life are very important, pile number one. So I'm just getting something about 3 years here. So I think it's really important about how you invest your time and your energy. And Mars and Scorpio, you know, Mars and Scorpio can definitely is okay with, you know, putting in the work and things taking a little bit of time. But, you know, Mars is not really, Scorpio's okay with that, but Mars is not really into gradual progress, you know, and the gradual development of things. Mars is like now, go, go, go. Mars really isn't slowly but surely. And there could be some timing differences with you and another person where it's like they're pushing on something and you're like, okay, I'm willing to discuss this with you, or I'm willing to give it another chance, but we're going to be progressing, you know, slowly. And they don't want to progress slowly, or they want to move into a physical relationship right away or something like that. And so that's interesting. And I think you guys are very emotionally aware. You know that for things to be time tested and be long lasting and develop over time, we need patience, we need adaptability, we need gradual progress. And I feel like this has been your approach that you've generally taken. But perhaps during this Mars and Scorpio transit, you're second guessing that approach and you're like, I don't know, like I may just need to cut my losses here and not just wait, okay? We have death here, which is very much Mars in Scorpio. And she's got the black gloves on and she's cutting the red string of fate. And the number 2 is here. So again, this is you and another person where I feel like you guys are holding the power and you're scissoring and cutting the red line of fate, and you're like, this is over. This is done. Okay. And I do feel like with Mars and Scorpio, the power is in your hands. And I kind of feel like you guys have been giving this person too much time anyway, and you're sick of all the time, like you're like, well, I have been, giving them second chances. I have been, participating in gradual progress and continuity, but I'm sick of it. I feel like you guys are cutting the cord. And it's saying here, like, what parts of you or your habits need changing? Mars in Scorpio is really great for changing something. And Scorpionic energy definitely having to do with change, and Mars about courage. So having the courage to cut something off, or having the courage to be like, bye-bye. What parts of you or your habits need changing? How do you feel disconnected with yourself and with others? Have you been neglecting your physical or emotional health? And, the thing is like when we kind of are like in a lot of denial and we're like giving people a lot of chances, it takes a lot of our emotional energy. And maybe you're realizing like, how much emotional energy am I really giving to this person or this situation anyway? Like, and perhaps you're like, I have no choice but to cut this off because I need to deal with my physical health and I need to deal with my emotional and mental health, and I just can't have this anymore, okay? And so I kind of feel like you guys are, the power's in your hands though, pile number 1, and you're just like, you know what? I gave this person a second chance. They fucked it up again, or I tried to be open-minded towards them. They messed it up again, and I'm done, is kind of what I feel here. And I do feel like you guys are going to be using this Mars and Scorpio time wisely to figure out, what habits you need changing, like whether it's your food habits, your exercise habits, your mental patterns that you have, the way you go about doing things during your like daily rituals, those types of things. You may be really examining these things and going, I want to do something different here. We have 3 of Cups. Yeah, this is you guys, like very open, very emotionally mature, very wise, giving, caring, always giving people compliments. I feel like pile number 1, like you always share positivity with other people and you're always like, wow, that was so great, or you did such a great job, or you're always a person I feel to want to like encourage other people and make other people feel at home. I feel some of you could be like very gracious hosts when you have people in your home. I feel like, you want to make things nice and comfy, cozy for people. You like to reassure people of your feelings and like let them know. And, you're very polite in that way. I feel pile number 1. But I kind of feel things are changing a little bit here. We have the Knight of Swords, and there's this energy of I just really need to talk to this person and tell them how I feel. And if I'm really honest about how I feel, like I'll feel better is kind of what I'm getting here. But now we have the Devil. So it's like no matter how many words I say, or no matter like how creative I get with it, no matter how, like, you know, responsive I am to this person. I answer all their questions. I show up when they need me. I'm always offering them words of encouragement. Like, it's never enough, or it just doesn't get appreciated, you know? And I kind of feel like you guys are feeling like this person is just telling me what I want to hear to make me feel better, is kind of what I feel. And I feel like you guys are thinking like this person is acting like they have emotions towards me, or they're talking to me like they care, but I know they don't, the devil. Or I know that this situation isn't good for me. Now, the devil could literally have an office on the 666th floor, and on the office would say, you know, Dr. Denial is here, right? On the devil's front door. Because the devil is really, you know, like, I'm just going to pretend like this isn't happening because I don't really want to go through the pain of losing it. So I kind of feel like, you know, there's situations where you were really excited or happy about something, and this person could have burst your bubble by being very negative, or, you know, it's like you're full of warmth and radiating goodness. And I feel like the other person is just like not showing a whole lot of emotions, or just kind of blows you off like a distraction, or, you know, feeds you words that you're like, I don't really think that that is like, I don't really think that that is sincere, is what I feel, pile number one. And so I feel like you guys are really starting to question what a person has told you in the past, or what you're hearing from them now. And it's like, I don't know if I believe any of that anymore. Okay. And, you know, there's a price to staying in denial for sure. And denial is really scary. I also feel denial is very Neptunian, and it's very scary, because if we don't feel like we understand our own sovereign personal truth that we can take action on, we can be so easily like manipulated and blown away by empty words that mean nothing if we're not holding on to our core. And I feel like that is something that you guys are really becoming aware of. And I was going to call this video Lead Me Not Into Temptation, you know, but of course the devil is leading us into temptation. So it's like, I'm tempted to hear this person out. I'm tempted to listen to what they have to say. I'm tempted when they text me, I'm tempted to say something back. Or I'm tempted to fall into behaviors of like reassuring this person that I'm going to be there for them, that I'm here for them, that I care, and all this stuff, when it just seems like they come around whenever they feel like it. It doesn't feel like they're that sincere. So pile number one, yeah, justice. You're not having any of that shit. Now, perhaps you're like, you know what? I'll give them one more chance, okay? Because justice is fair. Justice, and of course, the devil is no match for justice. Justice is like, I see through your shit like 1,000 miles away. You don't scare me, and bye-bye. But I kind of feel like you guys are like, well, you know, I'm a nice person. I care about this person. It seems like, you know, they need me, or they want to share some things with me. I'll listen. I'll give them a second chance. You know, I'll do it. I'll think about it. Maybe you're like with this Knight of Swords here. I'll think about it. Knight of Swords, Three of Cups. I'll think about giving you a second chance. But I kind of feel like you guys realize, no, this is the same shit. This is the same bullshit as before. And it's like, no, you're done. You're just over. It's done. And I feel like you guys make a choice with justice. You're like, I've had enough. I've literally had enough. And I feel like you're saying to this person, you may be hot, and, you know, you may be sexy, you may be hot, you may have the goods and the things that I like and want, but you're I feel like you guys are saying to this person, you're an idiot. Like, I see through you and I see through what's going on here. And I kind of feel like with justice, you guys are calling out somebody. You're like, I gave you a second chance. I gave you that. And you just threw it in the trash can, the devil. And, you know, this person I feel like doesn't have a lot of self-control. And they like to blame things on other people all the time. And because, anyway, pile number one, I'm not going to keep going into them because who cares at this point. But I think you guys are just making a choice during this Mars ingress into Scorpio. You're like, yeah, I'm done. I gave you a second chance. I let you, you know, whatever. I saw you. I listened to what you had to say. We met up. Maybe some of you are like, we met up, we slept together again, or we met up and we talked again. And you know what? It's just, I'm done. I'm not going to engage is what I feel you guys are saying. And I feel like you guys are well positioned to deliver some brutal truth. And telling this person, look, like, I see through this game and I'm not amused. And, you know, take a number around the block. I'm not talking to you anymore. Kick rocks, take a number. I used to say that when I was in my 20s, pile number one. I used to say, if somebody really made me mad, I'd be like, now serving 221. And guess what? You're like 341. You're way down the line. Get away. So pile number one, I like the feistiness. I love a good Mars in Scorpio. I love like that hardcore power, getting back to the truth of who you are. Pile number one, thank you so much for being here, my loves. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your feedback. Please leave me a detailed comment below and do like, share, and subscribe. Let's move on to pile number two. Okay. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. You chose the eggplant, and today's reading is called Mars in Scorpio, Feel the Burn. Okay, pile number two, and I talked about in the beginning, this Mars in Scorpio transit is from October 12th to November 24th, and we're going to go ahead and look at what's going on with you. I mentioned about how every trial endured in the right spiritual mode makes a noble and stronger soul at the end of the day. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it for my beautiful pile number twos. Let's look at what this Mars and Scorpio transit has in store for you, my darlings. Spirit, can you show us what is in store here for pile number two, Mars into Scorpio? Actually, what does pile number two need to know for this Mars into Scorpio transit? What is pile number two needing to know here? You know, like, what do you need to know in order to take action? Because Mars in Scorpio is very powerful, and sometimes we need to know certain information before we can really take action. Ooh, there it is. Me needy the info, pile number two. That's the King of Swords. And of course, the King of Swords needs all the information, all the details. Like, give me everything you got. I want to look through things. I'm going to sort through things. I'm going to pick the best one. I'm going to pick the best thing. And, you know, Mars in Scorpio is really good at getting to the bottom of something. It is very relentless. So it's like, you know, I've got an important decision to make, and I'm about ready to go balls to the wall and like collect every piece of information that I need in order to put myself in the best position possible. So I love that for you. It's a very strong and commanding energy with the King of Swords. And perhaps you guys are sitting on some very powerful information that you can use for your advantage during this Mars and Scorpio transit. I am getting career energy for some people here too, but let's get into it. We have Canary Spirit, sing your own song, baby. I had a feeling this card was going to come up when I was pre-shuffling because it's so very much Mars and Scorpio. It's like, yeah, make your decision, sing your own song. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do what you do very well, and don't think about it twice. And that's very Mars and Scorpio. It's like, I don't care what other song everyone else is singing. I don't care about everyone else's song and dance. I'm really focused on, you know, my own thing right now. And I love that for you guys. That's very powerful. And perhaps you guys are very unique thinkers, very unique in the way that you solve problems and look at things. Very nice. Pile number 2. We have withdraw. Okay, interesting. So maybe you're trying to make a decision about whether you are going to withdraw from something. And that could be, I'm going to withdraw from making this purchase. I'm going to take my name out of the hat for this particular opening at this particular job. Or maybe some of you are getting a job offer and you're like, nope, nah, it's not me. It doesn't feel like me. And so and it doesn't have to be about a job either. It could be about something you guys are trying to make a decision about. It could be from the clothes that you buy, to the appliances that you buy, to the car that you buy, to the job interviews that you choose to go on, to the dates you go on. It's kind of like you guys are like, no, that doesn't really feel like me. It doesn't really feel like my vibe. And, you know, Mars and Scorpio Mars is like a me type of an energy, and Scorpio is all about feeling the vibe. And it's a water sign. It is about feeling vibes out and feeling out situations, collecting all the information. It's 411 on my clock right now, pile number 2. Look at that. 411 on the clock. Look at the screen, 411. There it is. And so, of course, we needy all the info. We needy the information to decide, like, is this thing really for me? Is this opportunity for me? Is this, you know, washer and dryer for me, right? Is this color of shirt me or not? Or do I not want to get this shirt? So I kind of feel like this is the energy that you guys are in. You're like, give me all the information so that I can really look at something and decide, like, does this feel like me or not? And if it doesn't, then it's like, okay, no, I'm done. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not that emotional. And, you know, with the King of Swords, I kind of feel like you guys, you know, Mars and Scorpio could be very like intense emotionally, or just intense actions or things like that. Other people may read your actions during this Mars and Scorpio period as being very intense actions, or that you're taking very intense actions. But I actually feel you guys feel very calm, cool, and collected about it. And you're like, no, I'm good with it. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm good to go. And yeah, we have children here. Children are important to this partnership. So perhaps some of you are deciding, like, you know, this can come up in so many ways, right? Children factor into relationships in so many different ways. And for those of you that have children and you're trying to make a decision about, like, what school to put them in next year or things like that, and you're like, you know, that school is a good school, but I don't really feel like it matches, you know, the personality of my child. I don't really want to put them there. I kind of feel like or you're dating and one person wants to have children and the other person doesn't. There could be this kind of thing where, or you have children and you're dating and the children are, you know, and you're at the point where we got to meet and have our children meet, or we got to talk about this, or this needs to be brought up. Okay. And maybe some of you don't really want to have kids in this pile. And you're singing your own song, right? Sing your own song is very like Uranus energy of, like, you know, being eccentric, different, not making the same choices as everyone else. And I feel like what you guys are saying is if someone can't understand my decision, I'm going to withdraw. If they can't understand, if they refuse to understand where I'm coming from, even though I'm explaining everything really, really well, like I'm just going to withdraw because it's not worth my time and energy to keep on, you know, trying to convince someone or share my point of view on something. At that point, it doesn't really matter. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. And Mars in Scorpio is very good at putting energy into the right things and marshaling energy in the right ways. And some people may look at the actions of Mars and Scorpio as being very intense, but actually, I feel like it's like you guys are just like, hey, I made this decision and this is what I want, and this is what feels right for me or my family or my future family. And if you don't understand that decision, then I don't have any more explaining to do. And so I find that, ooh, strictly sexual. Interesting. This connection is passionate, but not enduring. Okay, interesting. Now, of course, all the drama is coming up. Mars and Scorpio, of course, you know, sexual energy is coming up too. And perhaps you guys are making a decision like, actually, no, I do really like this person, or I think they're a good person in theory, King of Swords, but they're not really me. We don't really vibe on a lot of things. We maybe don't have the same values about things. Perhaps one person wants to have children, the other one doesn't, or one person has kids, the other one doesn't. And it's like, or you just feel that somebody wouldn't make a very good father or mother, or you feel like you wouldn't make a good father or mother. You know, there's so many options here, pile number 2, basically. But what I'm saying is that you're just like, you know, it's not that serious with the King of Swords. And I feel like you guys are fine with it, though. You're not like, I don't want to be crude, pile number 2, but it's not like you guys are like, Natalie, I can take it, give it to me. It's not like you guys are like throwing yourself off a bridge if something doesn't work out, or you're dating someone and it's like, I kind of feel like you guys are in really good control of your mind and yourself and your decisions. And you're seeing things really clearly with the King of Swords here. And you're like, I get it. Like, I get where this person's coming from, but I also get where I'm coming from. And I'm not going to like change my mind on this. So yeah. Interesting energy, pile number 2. We have here, I am honest with myself and others. Very good. Yes, King of Swords. You are very honest. And I'm getting Aquarian energy with the King of Swords, Gemini energy too. It's like, yeah, I am really honest. I'm brutal. Maybe some of you guys are like, yeah, I am actually maybe too honest sometimes. Okay. And, you know, this Mars and Scorpio period really showing you guys how maybe compared to other people that you know exactly what you want, you know how you're going to get there, you know what you see for the future. And there's a lot of, I mean, when we're honest with ourselves and other people, it just makes things so much easier. Like, we don't waste a lot of time. It becomes very, and that's what I was saying earlier in this video, that this Mars and Scorpio transit has an opportunity to be very black and white. It's like, this is what it is. And, you know, this is what I want. This is who I am. This is how I feel about things. And I'm being really honest with you about this. And of course, honesty takes courage. And Mars in Scorpio is about taking courageous action. So it's like, I'm going to be very courageous and honest and straightforward. And actually, it makes things happen for you guys. Like, I feel you guys are going to feel proud of yourself during this Mars and Scorpio transit. Like, you're going to be proud of yourself because you're like, yeah, I'm over here just whistling my tune and I'm over here doing my thing. And I also feel for those of you that have musical talents or creative talents, if somebody asks you your opinion about, you know, their creations, their plays that they wrote, their songs that they wrote, their music that they did. I kind of feel like you guys, if somebody asks you your opinion during this Mars and Scorpio transit, you're going to be really honest with them. Like you'll say, honestly, I think it needs more work, or honestly, like, I'm not a fan of it. I kind of feel like you guys are taking it, and I like that. I actually really like that, because it gets shit done. And I know you guys are like wise enough and emotionally mature enough not to deliberately hurt other people. I know that about you, pile number 2, but I also kind of feel like if somebody asks you their opinion, like, do you like this music? Do you like this art? You could say, like, you can be very diplomatic with the King of Swords. Like, yes, I mean, they obviously are very talented. It's just not really my style. They obviously are good at what they're doing, but I don't prefer that. You're just very straightforward with that during this period. And, you know, if you're in the position where you need to like grade papers or edit something, or you're an editor of something, this could be a very strong, productive period for you, because I kind of feel like you guys are on point with the things that you're saying and no one can really argue with you. And you're kind of like running the show and you're bringing up some really valid points to people. And they can't really fault you for that. It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I see your point with that. We have Moon here and withdraw. Okay. I feel like you guys are kind of like, I don't really want to, this situation is actually just strictly sexual. Maybe you guys go out with someone and you're like, yeah, I could see having fun, but I really don't think we vibe. Like maybe somebody else has older children or wants children and you're like, well, I don't really. And even for my people watching here who are 50 and up and, you know, 40 and up, 50 and up, for those of you that have grandkids or you're dating people, they have grandkids, but you don't have grandkids. There may be some differences there where you're just like, we're not going to vibe on a lot of things because we don't really have, particularly for my peeps that are older that didn't have children, but yet you're dating someone that has children or grandchildren. There may be some kind of mismatches there. And I kind of feel like you guys are saying, you know, before I get my feelings too involved in this, or before I get too emotionally involved in this situation, I'm going to go ahead and be really honest with this other person and let them know that I'm not really like feeling them, or I'm not really like feeling the situation, or I'm going to be really honest with someone and tell them like, look, I can see us having a good time together, but I don't really feel it could be more than that. And yeah, so pile number 2, I really like that energy. And you know, God save me. If I would have been more honest, I mean, I'm one of those Libra rising people that in my teenage years, I would make plans with like 5 people because I didn't want to tell anyone no. And then I would like flake on air sign, like flake on 4 people. And anyway, those situations, I still find myself sometimes in that territory, but I don't flake anymore, at least pile number 2. But you guys are like, tisk, tisk, Natalie. But anyway, I feel like you guys are very like holding people to what they say. You're holding people to their word. You're holding yourself to your word. It's a good feeling. And, you know, with the moon and withdraw, you guys may have moon Saturn in your natal chart. You may have moon square Saturn, moon conjunction Saturn, moon opposite Saturn. And I do think that gives you a lot of, you know, emotional maturity and gravitas, regardless of your age. And it does help you realize, like, I don't really want my feelings to get involved in this situation because it doesn't feel like, it doesn't seem logical, or it doesn't seem like it would work out. And so perhaps you're going down that line. We have dispersion here. Dispersion, not depression, thank God. We don't want to, you know, I know many of us in today's society, we deal with that, but it's dispersion, to like disperse things. And you can see like winds like taking the leaves, and the leaves are blowing in the wind. and she's rocking on her flute. And what's so funny is I see a flute here too. So now we have two flutes. So perhaps you guys do play a musical instrument, or you're very talented, or you used to, or perhaps you played the flute back in the day or something. But anyway, it's like using music or using creativity or using art, like going out and taking a walk in the fall weather when you see the leaves falling and they're changing colors, and you're listening to music or playing music or singing to yourself. Like, it really does help diffuse negativity, and it helps you to restore your harmony intellectually and emotionally. And during this Mars and Scorpio period, because Mars and Scorpio has this energy of kind of hunkering down and focusing on something, but maybe not moving around a whole lot. And I do think it's going to be a very, intellectually rigorous time for you. Pile number 2 with this King of Swords. So I do think it's important for you guys to kind of get out, listen to music, play your instrument if that's what you like, do some art if you're into it. Your normal ways, how you really like circulate the energy and revitalize your spirit, and you lighten up the mood, and dissolve divisions between people. So sometimes and here's another thing that I would say, pile number 2, I really love your proactive decision making and your honesty, but I also feel like you may be a little bit, maybe a kind of tidbit lonely during this period, or be like, am I driving people away that I could have an emotional connection with, Moon? And, am I kind of like making these logical choices because I'm afraid of getting attached emotionally, Moon, and so I'm withdrawing and saying nothing can be there? Am I creating divisions in my life, like divisions between myself and other people? So I'm kind of like in a silo over here. So maybe some of you are kind of thinking about that too, but I also feel like, and that's a valid point as well. And I feel during this Mars and Scorpio period, you guys are very open to like valid points and what people have to say. And there may be a little bit of that in there, maybe in times in your life where you've written things off because you're like, no, it's not possible. It could never be. I'm writing it off. And maybe you guys have written off like lots of things because you're just like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to write it off. But perhaps when you get into like wistful moods or creative moods, or you're taking a walk or listening to music, you're like, well, maybe I need to lighten up a little bit. Maybe I need to like circulate more. Maybe I need to revitalize myself and not just be like poo-pooing things, but instead kind of engaging with things more. And so there may be that energy that comes up too, which may cause you to like lighten up the mood, or be a little bit social, or circulate a little bit more, or get rid of old energy is kind of what I feel like too. It's like, let me get rid of like this emotional hangover, or let me get rid of this old energy that's just kind of hanging around, and disperse that energy and get into a more like lighthearted kind of happy space. Ooh, I love this. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Pile number 2. Here we have this incredibly fierce samurai. She's a female samurai, and she looks incredibly fierce, and she's holding that sword like boom. And it's all about action, right? Mars in Scorpio, action, action. We want action. Actions speak louder than words. And I feel like if somebody calls you on something, you're more than willing to defend yourself, pile number 2, but at the same time, I really think you guys prefer peace, but you will stand up for yourselves. And I love that she's holding the sword, and then this King of Swords in this deck is also female and is holding a sword. So now we have two King of Swords here, and one looks like a samurai, which I love. Take some form of action without regrets, okay? Examine what is holding you back from taking action and cut it loose. You will get the most immediate results through acting decisively. No maybes. Ooh, isn't that Mars in Scorpio? Let me just, take the whip in this reading. If I had a whip, I'd whoosh it right now. Pile number 2 for you, okay? You will get the most immediate results through acting decisively. No maybes, okay? Action, no maybes. And perhaps you guys are like, nope, this is strictly sexual. It's passionate. It's not enduring. I'm going to act decisively on this. There's no waffling. There's no maybe. There's no whatever. Like, I'm just taking action. And I love that. I love like a very intelligent person that just gets it. Good for you, pile number 2. And I do feel like Mars in Scorpio is very good for taking action without regrets. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to regret that. That is me, and that's what I wanted to do, and that's how I was thinking and feeling in the moment, and there it is. And I do feel like you guys are going to be taking some action. And if you do have a sexual connection that comes up and you do get hot and heavy with someone, but then you're like, it's nothing more than that, I also feel like you don't really regret getting down and dirty either. You're like, well, I'm a human being. I have needs. What do you expect from me? And it's like, yeah, sure. But then I kind of feel you guys are just in the power position here. And I kind of feel like you're telling someone very honestly, like, this is just maybe a sexual connection, not much more. I enjoyed my time with you. You're a great person, but no thanks. No more maybes, right? Is what I feel for you guys, which is really good. We have 3 of Cups. That's so interesting because the 3 of Cups came up in pile number 1. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Very nice. And, the 3 of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune is all about being on an adventure or going and doing something out of the ordinary or going and doing something fun to kind of fun and lighthearted to sort of break up the energy. And I do feel like if you guys get out during this period, or you go out and do things, or go out on dates, or go out with friends, or have a little bit of fun with something, I do feel you've got this very magnetic energy about you right now, which is very Mars and Scorpio. And I do feel like you could have some lucky meetings or chance meetings with some cool people who you just like get along with. And you could possibly have a really good time. Perhaps maybe some of you are looking at forming a new friendship during this period or spending time with the friends. But I do feel like you guys are thinking it's time for me to have a little bit more fun. It's time for me to relax and enjoy myself here too. Perhaps some of you are wanting to take a trip, or I don't know why I feel like trivia games. I'm also seeing like flights of beer, when you can go to like fancy schmancy like beer places and they give you like a flight to like taste different kinds of beers. I don't know why I'm getting that, but I kind of feel some of you may be at a place like that, or you may be with someone who gets like a flight. And I kind of feel with the 3 of Cups, it's like sampling different things. Oh, try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that. I mean, you are open-minded, I feel, pile number 2, but you're very honest with yourself. Like if something is just fun and like momentary pleasure, I feel like you're willing to take part in it, but you're also very honest with yourself too, which is refreshing. And we have the 2 of Pentacles. So getting out and doing something, or getting out and enjoying yourself, may be really nice for you guys to do during this period to kind of lighten up the move, because we have diffuse negativity. Diffuse negativity, restore harmony, lighten the mood. Okay, circulation is very much a Wheel of Fortune concept, like circulating your energy, movement, trying different things, going different places. It's Jupiter. Wheel of Fortune is represented by Jupiter. So it does represent growth in a positive direction of being able to relax and enjoy yourself and just have fun in the moment, but also be really honest with yourself about where you're at with something. And yeah, I think you guys could have like a chance meeting or a chance encounter and really enjoy a moment with someone. However, pile number 2, I kind of feel like you're like, yeah, I went out, or yeah, I went and I met this person, but I'm kind of paying for it the next day, the 2 of Pentacles. And I kind of feel like you guys may have somewhat of a social life during this Mars and Scorpio period, or you may be seeing people or going places with the Wheel of Fortune and 3 of Cups, or just celebrating yourself, moving in a new positive direction. But I also feel like you guys, if you do go out and you do go do something and you have a little too many beers or too much of this or too much of that, I kind of feel like you may pay for it the next day, pile number 2, which is obvious. You know, we all pay for it the next day. But I do feel like during this Mars and Scorpio transit, you guys are keeping yourselves busy with the 2 of Pentacles in order, because you are going through a lot of, you know, changes right now. There's a lot of ups and downs on a daily basis. Not anything you can't handle, pile number 2, but there's just a lot of, some of you may be dealing with money stuff as well with Mars and Scorpio. I know Scorpio rules my 2nd house of money. So, you know, because I'm a Libra rising, so my Libra risings, pay attention, because this Mars and Scorpio transit is going to be hitting your 2nd house of money. And so you may be dealing with some money issues or moving around money, or it's like, I want to go have fun, or I want to go travel or do stuff, but I also have to pay attention to the day-to-day grind. I also need to pay attention to what's in front of me. I need to make sure I got my money situated. Actually, I feel like during this period, you guys are deciding, I am going to prioritize saving money, or I'm going to prioritize holding on to this money. Or if you're having 2 big expenses going on at the same time, I kind of feel like you're taking one expense and putting it down and saying, I'm just going to focus on this. And this Mars and Scorpio transit could be hitting your 2nd house or your 8th house, which all have to do with money. I'm also feeling 12th house for you guys. 12th house is a house of expenditures. So perhaps you're weighing out the options here and thinking about, like, what is it that I want to cut out of my budget? And you're being very practical, though, is what I feel. And you're actually quite, I feel like you may have some days of work where you're a little tired, or you're a little like, but you're focused. You're focused, but perhaps you're like, I'm focused, but I've got dark circles under my eyes. Like, what the fuck? But I feel you guys are very focused as well. And part of your focus, I feel, is to keep the negativity away. I feel some of you are working hard or putting your energy into projects, renovations, things you want to do around the house, planning for trips, planning for a girls' trip, like planning on going places, working hard, working on your projects. I feel like a lot of you guys are doing that to kind of like push away the darkness or push away any negativity that would come up. And I actually think productivity, focus, working hard, I do think those are great ways to keep yourself on the right track and to diffuse negativity. Now, we have to be careful sometimes, especially for us workaholics, that we're not just ignoring our, our emotional, like if you do feel unhappy, or you do feel like there's a shadow looming in your life, pile number 2, or you do feel like there's some kind of emptiness in your life and you're just kind of feeling it with busy things, then I do think nature is a great antidote to that. Animals, nature, healthy eating, getting yourself on the right track. If you do have people, that you can talk to or spend time with, I feel like you guys, you're interesting, pile number 2, because sometimes I feel like you keep what's going on inside yourself emotionally to yourself, and it really comes out in your work, or it comes out in your productivity. And you're very smart, and I feel some of you here do extremely good work, whether it's just working in your garden or working at the office or whatever it is that you do, whatever hobbies, interests, work that you have, you're very good at it and you're very smart about it, pile number 2, but you may have a tendency sometimes to like put your emotions on the back burner to kind of deal with them a later day. And Mars in Scorpio likes focus, and I feel like you guys are focused, but I do feel like some feelings do come to the surface, but I kind of feel like it's gonna be okay. I feel like they're good feelings with the 3 of Cups, because I feel like you guys just want to have a productive use of your time. You don't want your time wasted, and you want your time to be productive. Time is money. And but at the same time, there's this draw towards exploring and doing some fun new things. And so perhaps you're going to work out a balance with that during this Mars and Scorpio season. Pile number 2. But I feel you guys are working real hard, and you're seeing the benefit of that, and you're focusing on money, productivity, thinking about the future, things you'd want to save for, how you want to like live in the future is also what I feel like is on your guys' mind. So this is what I am getting for you, pile number 2. I hope this reading resonated for you, and I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your feedback. If you'd like an astrology reading, details are below for how to book one. If you'd like a personal reading with me, details are below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, pile number 2, and take care. Let's move on to pile number 3. Okay. Pile number 3. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the pumpkin, and today's reading is called Mars in Scorpio. Feel the burn. Yeah, baby. We are going to go ahead and get into your reading. You guys chose the pumpkin, and as I mentioned, Mars is in Scorpio from the time period from October 12th to November 24th. I am getting an energy here of some of you guys needing peace and quiet, or having a headache recently. Perhaps you've been a little under the weather, or just having a headache and you've needed some quiet, or there's just been a little bit of seriousness going on. Pile number 3. But let's go ahead, and as we know, Mars in Scorpio can be very intense. It can definitely involve, temptation, ignoring temptation, putting the pedal to the metal, falling prey to temptation. One of the quotes I gave is, every trial endured and weathered in the right spirit makes the soul nobler and stronger than it was before. That's a William Butler Yeats quote. So let's go ahead and get into it for my pile number 3s and see, what does Spirit want pile number 3 to know for this Mars in Scorpio period? What does Spirit want pile number 3 to know for this Mars in Scorpio period? Okay, I feel like you guys have a lot on your mind. Yeah, there's justice and, making some proactive decisions. I would just want to look at this card here. Ooh, I like her. She is cutting some things off, and there's somebody, she has a dartboard, and she's throwing some knives at the dartboard, and she's also being really proactive about her decision making. So there's a very Martian quality to justice because of how she falls on the tree of life. And so I can see that. Perhaps we have some Libras up in this pile. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Pile number 3. We have Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. Interesting, because this came up in my last reading that I did, the groundhog spirit. And groundhog can feel like we're living every day, like the same day over and over and over again. And you can see this groundhog is holding on to a heart and doesn't want to let it go. So perhaps some of you haven't wanted to let go of a situation, or it's been really hard to let go of a lover, of a friend. Perhaps some of you have, lost somebody and their memory is lingering with you, whether they have passed on to the other side or you've just lost them in this lifetime. But there is this energy of time to let go. And what's interesting is right now, Mars isn't in Scorpio yet, but Mars is with K2 right now with the South Node in Libra. And particularly for my Libras, if you're Libra rising, Libra moon, Libra sun, you've got major Libra in your chart, you probably are feeling this Mars K2 energy strongly. And we're about to have eclipses in Libra. We have an eclipse in Libra, solar eclipse coming up here, very close to the ingress of that Mars into Scorpio. So it's interesting energy right now. I feel you guys are really feeling the South Node energy of there's nothing else I can do. I have to let this go, which is very much like a Mars K2 South Node conjunction. Like I tried everything I could, but I have to let something go here. Okay. And Justice, I kind of feel like you guys want to feel like a fierce warrior again. You want to feel like you're in your element. You want to feel strong and powerful. And you want to make sure, you want to know that you're making the right decisions for yourself and really trust yourself, and Mars and Scorpio is about taking action because we trust what we're doing. We're confident in it and we trust it. So let's see here. And I feel some of you are like, maybe like, how can I move forward? Or how is it going to be possible for me to move forward? Okay. And Justice can also talk about a clean break with the past or needing to have that clean break with something. We have power here. Wow. Pile number 3. Okay. Justice, I also feel very much like, these eclipses that are going to be happening over the next year and a half are in Libra and Aries. They're on the Libra-Aries axis. So I feel some of us Libra rising people, moon in Libra, sun in Libra people, we're like preparing for battle over here. But I just want to tell you guys about the power of letting go and how much power, inner strength we can find when we let go. And it doesn't mean we have to let go of our memories. It doesn't mean that we have to, forget that person ever existed. Although sometimes when we've been really hurt, that's kind of what we need to do to cut the ties. But I also just feel like you guys are realizing the raw power in letting go and Mars and Scorpio is not a sign that necessarily wants to let go. And it definitely can dig its heels in even further into a situation rather than letting go. And I kind of feel like you guys are learning in the middle of a deep spiritual lesson right now, pile number 3, about the power of release and the power of letting go. And that's the eagle version of scorpionic energy, because we have like the snake, we have the scorpion, and then we have the eagle. And that eagle is that set free, powerful letting go. And you guys are really, this period over the next year and a half of these eclipses, and it's not just Mars and Scorpio for you guys. I really feel like you guys are in the middle of a deep spiritual lesson. And perhaps you feel that you've been in a bit of a spiritual battle as well. And I get it. I completely get it. Pile number 3, and your message is different than the other piles. I just have to let you know. Each pile was different, way different. But I'm just saying for you guys, I feel like this is the power of releasing something. We have stability. This relationship can stand the test of time. And we have obstacles. Unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement. You know, unhealed wounds are such a pain in the ass. I know. And you guys are like, I'm so sick of it. I'm ready just to let go. I'm so like, and that's what happens when we've been pushed to our limit. And it's like, I have no choice. And I kind of feel like you guys are looking for, perhaps some of you were in a stable relationship that you felt was going to stand the test of time, but there were obstacles in that relationship that didn't. I feel some of you could have had a very long-term relationship now, or wanted one with someone, or you were in the middle of a long-term one, but something happened. There's obstacles. Unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement. And I kind of feel like the spiritual lesson you guys are in, I feel you guys are tackling your unhealed wounds. I feel like you're facing them directly. You're very strong. You're very aware of them too. I feel like with justice, you're very aware of your unhealed wounds and your shadow and where they're at, and taking action. Also, justice is the tarot card associated with karma. And justice is an action card, and making choices that are aligned with our karma. And I feel like, you know, you guys have been doing that. Pile number 3, you're a very powerful person, but I also feel like there could be some disappointment here because you've had to let go of some stability in your life. Now, this could be stability that you had with another person in a relationship, or something that you were anticipating to be stable in the future but wasn't. This could also be like a job that you had that provided a lot of stability but now is gone, and you've had to let go of that, because this time to let go energy is very South Node, and the South Node is where we're renouncing things, or letting things go, or rejecting things. And it may be that, I mean, there is a lot of power in stability. There's no doubt that there is a lot of power in stability. And perhaps you guys found in your path a lot of power and stability, but you've had to let go of some of that and make certain decisions. And perhaps there are other people's unhealed wounds that are blocking forward movement. It doesn't just have to be I feel you guys could be in a very stable place in your life where you could be very powerful, but it's not always about where we're at when we're dealing with other people. Sometimes, obviously, right, justice, balance, it is about the other person too, and where they're at, and whether their unhealed wounds are too far gone at that point to really participate in that stability. And so perhaps some of you are really seeking balance, or you're seeking, perhaps some of you are actually seeking karmic retribution for some things too, for the way that people mistreated you or hurt you in the past, pile number 3. But ultimately, I know you guys know that there is power in letting go. And sometimes we have to let go of the thing that has made us feel very stable and confident for the longest time, and let go of that. But let's see what else we have here. It says, I am curious about my true nature. I seek to understand myself. And perhaps you guys feel like maybe you've been self-sabotaging in the past, or perhaps you've just had a hard time letting go. And a lot of us have a hard time letting go. I mean, many of us do. You're not alone, pile number 3. You are definitely not alone. And I feel like you guys are like, why am I still holding on to this? I'm ready. I feel more powerful in my life. Justice. I feel more stable than before. I'm ready for something in my life. Why do I still feel like there are unhealed wounds that are blocking movement in my life, whether that's finding the relationship that you want, whether that's finding the career that you want, whether that's whatever it happens to be, whatever you're really fighting for and going for in your life, because Mars in Scorpio is all about fighting for the thing that we want and not giving up on it. And I feel like you guys are definitely one of those people that you're very powerful and you fight for what you want and you go for what you want. But at the same time, I feel like you guys, and maybe there's a little bit of self-punishing going on here too, pile number 3, where it's like, why am I like this? Or why can't I let go of this? Why am I having such a problem letting go? And normally I feel like in the past with this justice energy here, I feel like in the past, maybe you didn't have any issue with letting go. Pile number 3, like maybe you were like, no, I've let go of a lot of things in my life, or I've had to let go of a lot of things, but this one thing I'm having a really hard time with. And I get it. It says, I'm curious about my true nature. I seek to understand myself, because there's power. We have power here in understanding ourselves. And I do feel like you're coming to a place or in your life where you're powerful and you're stable. You have things to offer, but you feel like it's not happening for me, or it's not going the way that I want it to. And if I just push harder, it will. But sometimes we keep pushing hard on something, but we keep hitting that same obstacle. So it really forces us back to the drawing board to go, okay, why am I still at this point? Now, at the same time, pile number 3, I don't think you should beat yourself up or be mean to yourself because you're struggling with something. And you could be this, I feel you guys are very strong, powerful people. You can be the most powerful, strong person, believe in yourself, confident, all of that. But there can be just that one thing that brings you to your knees, just that one person or that one situation or that one painful thing from your past that it's like, they talk about it like with the paw of a lion, how lions are like so noble and strong and brave, but they get like a little sliver in their paw and it just rubs it raw, you know? And I kind of feel like maybe that's not to say that your problem is like a little sliver, but to say that there's been something irritating you, I feel. And I feel like you guys are determined to overcome it. You really, really are. And you've really been pushing hard to understand your karma and overcome. But I also feel like perhaps sometimes it's been more of an intellectual exercise with the Justice card here rather than an emotional letting go. And maybe in this Mars and Scorpio time, there does need to be like there does need to be like an emotional release, or there does need to be like letting someone go or emotionally releasing something. And that helps you feel, it's like after it rains outside and you go outside and the air just smells so fresh and it smells so good and you're like, oh wow, it's like everything's clean again. I feel like you guys really want that feeling, pile number 3, like you really, really do. But you're questioning yourself a lot because you feel like, why am I holding myself back? Why can't I move forward on this? And so we're going to find out more of what's going on here, pile number 3. And I'm doing something different in your reading. I'm pulling over your tarot cards first before I do the rest because I want to see what we have here. We have the Magician, okay? We have the Hermit. Ooh, power, learning, study, growth. Oh, that's not the Magician. I don't know why I called this card the Magician. This is the Emperor. This is the Emperor, which is, of course, Aries or Mars energy. Okay, so I don't know. He looked like the Magician to me. That looked like a magician to me, not an emperor. But interesting. And of course, the Emperor is very stable and solid. And actually during your reading on my clock, it was 444 a little bit ago. I didn't say anything, but it was 444. The Emperor is number 4. Of course, 4 has to do with stability. And, you know, it's like I have to let go of the way that I thought things were going to be. And I do feel like there's this, I kind of also feel like there's a power in being alone and standing on your own right now. Pile number 3. There is this power, and the Emperor is very stable. The Hermit is also very well balanced as well, very powerful in its right. Let's see what else. We have the Sun. Okay. And all of this is just saying powerful. The Sun is very powerful. The Hermit is very intelligent. The Emperor is very stable. And perhaps you guys were like, yeah, I had like the perfect situation going on. I had like the best thing going on. And perhaps you guys are, here's the King of Swords here. Very interesting, staring at justice. And I feel like, you know, the Sun is very passionate. And these two look like they're fighting though. What's interesting is like, this is the vampire deck, and of course vampires don't want to be around the Sun. That's not what they want. But breaking through limitations and like having courage and believing in yourself and fighting for what you want, and believing in yourself, courage, etc. Like I feel like you guys had your hopes on a particular outcome with a person, okay, is what I really feel, pile number 3. And I mean, I also feel that perhaps you guys were very sold on a future or a dream. It could have to do with your work as well, your work, your money, a particular person in your life. I don't know why I'm getting the word time flies. Maybe somebody said that to you recently, or you know somebody that says time flies all the time. I'm also seeing the word flick, like somebody who like flicks something a lot. But, you know, it's time to let go of a certain stability that you once had, pile number 3, and it's time to find the true source of your power, which is spiritual power, which is what I feel here in the Hermit, is spiritual power. And learning and understanding about your own self is what I feel here, okay? And I do feel there could have been somebody around you that always thought that they were right all the time, or always challenged you all the time. The thing is, pile number 3, is I do feel like you're one of those people that likes a challenge. Maybe some people in this pile actually have Mars in Scorpio, and you don't like to give up on things, and you do like a challenge, okay? But the obstacle, I feel like with this King of Swords here and this obstacle, unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement. So, you know, and the funny thing about this King of Swords is this King of Swords has wounds all over their body, scratches and wounds all over their body, and is holding on to something from the past, okay? Holding on to a skull or holding on to a memory from the past. And this is exactly what I was talking about, where we can't, you could be like a badass spiritual warrior, pile number 3, but if the person that you want in your life is, or the situation that you want in your life, or the person that you want in your life is unhealed and not willing to do their work, then it's very hard to, you know, it's hard to move past that. You really can't until that person understands. And what's interesting is I see a big coiled snake over this person's head. And the way that this person thinks, pile number 3, is very messed up. the way they think about themselves and their life. I do feel like this person has a very big chip on their shoulder. And I do feel, because the snake, particularly in astrology, the snake is associated with Rahu Ketu, which is the north and the south node. And it's a very past life, intense energy. And of course, Rahu and Ketu are both shadow planets and cause a lot of interference. And I kind of feel like this person in the past could have been fucking with your feelings, or, but pile number 3, I kind of feel you cut this situation off already, is what I feel, or the situation is over, or it's done, or you chopped it off at its knees a long time ago, or, you know, not, maybe for some of you, not like a really, really long time ago, but I feel like you're no longer with this person, pile number 3. But, you know, their refusal to listen, their refusal to change, their refusal to deal with their demons or deal with their emotions, and the way that they would take their emotions out on you and make you feel bad. Like, I don't, perhaps some of you are like, yeah, I'm never going to be, I feel some of you have been with like a dark personality or a narcissist. I just have to say it, pile number 3. And I don't say that word normally in my readings, but I do feel like you were with somebody who wasn't good, is what I'm getting. Okay. And I do feel like this person could have presented themselves with the Emperor here as somebody who is like very strong and very like powerful and very, you know, and I feel like you guys are really learning about yourselves here with this Hermit energy. Like, you're really learning about who you are, and it's a light bulb moment for you guys, is what I feel. And you can see your crown chakra is lit up in this card, okay? And some of you may really identify like with Sirius as like star seeds. I'm just getting that energy, so I have to say it. I swear to God, pile number 3, I haven't said that word and I don't know how freaking long in a reading, so I just have to tell you that. But anyway, I mean, I'm not a reader who just says that stuff all the time, just so you know. But I just want you to know, I do see the light on your crown chakra, and I do see like you're getting new knowledge and information about who you are and what you are, and it's gonna bring you a sense of power, okay? And you know, I do feel like you thought that there could be stability with this person, but there's also a lot of fighting. Like, I don't really like this Sun card in this deck because they look like they're fighting, and it's like, you know, get it together already. And this person could have been having a big ego, pile number 3, or they could have been very immature, egotistical, liking to fight a lot, needing to always kind of, I don't know. I'm just not liking the energy, pile number 3. And maybe some of you, I'm really describing somebody from your deep past here. But, and I feel for those of you that are really like learning this spiritual lesson and really stepping it up and really understanding yourself, there's so much power there for you. You're becoming the Emperor. You're becoming the Hermit. You're seeing the light with the Sun card here. We have Scorpio. Yeah, yep. And I did say that at the beginning of this reading, that some of you here may have Mars in Scorpio already, or may already have Scorpio placements in your chart. And here's something, not every Scorpio is like really like outward about their power. Like, some of them are very like introverted and like deep, but they're not sharing everything they see or know with other people. And I kind of feel like you guys are at this point where you're in that energy. You're like, I am learning a lot right now in my life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and I'm not sharing that with everyone. I'm keeping it to myself right now, and I'm finding power in this learning. And, you know, I do think you could have found stability with somebody if there wasn't so much ego or fighting or just, you know, just general immaturity, mayhem, not seeing things the same way. Like, I do think there could have been something there that could have been stable. But again, because I feel like you and this person were a very dynamic energy together, but I also feel like that person isn't really doing anything to become a better person. And they're just not really at the level where you are now, pile number 3. And I think you know that. I think you understand that. I also feel like you guys are very humble. You wouldn't, like, with the Hermit energy here, I feel like you wouldn't really say that because you guys know true power isn't flashing it out there and like being super like demanding and flashy and rude about it. It is about internal power and internal preservation of your core. And I feel like that's where you guys are at right now. And you may be feeling like you need some time to yourself and you need some time to study, learn, grow, heal. Take the time. Take the time, pile number 3. Take the time that you need for sure. And I'm just getting this, why does this person always blame me for their problems? Okay. So maybe you felt like this person was blaming you for their problems, or where I kind of feel like you guys deal with your karma immediately, pile number 3. If something comes up, you know you're not perfect, and you know at times too you get triggered and you can get nasty at times. I can see it here with this power and scorpionic energy. Like, you know, you can get in a little revengey mood yourself sometimes, I feel, pile number 3. But I also feel like you're an old soul and you're a person that when you see karma up, you try to clear your karma right away. You don't sit there and feed it and, you know, like put it on other people, feed it, grow it, and stuff like that. No, you take care of it in the moment, okay? And I feel you're a person that likes to handle things head on. But I also feel there's a quality about you guys that can be like broody or kind of quiet or holding on to something, or not really showing your true power all the time. And maybe sometimes you attribute a lot of power to other people, and like this person's very powerful or they're really amazing or something. But I actually feel when you do that, pile number 3, you're actually more powerful than that person. Like whatever's within you is more powerful than that, okay? And it's not a competition on who's more powerful and who's more this and who knows more and all of that. But it's really about supporting each other. And I feel like you guys know that too, but perhaps this person felt like they were in competition with you at times as well for some weird reason. Or there was jealousy or competition or just bullshit that would come up like that, okay? And it can be really hard to let go for truly scorpionic people who keep things within. It can be hard to let things go. So give yourself some grace. And if you're healing from a situation in your past where there was an emotional manipulator who would blame you for their problems, like understand that you're freeing yourself from that energy. And I feel like with this Emperor here, you're really standing up for yourselves, okay? You're really, really standing up for yourselves, and you're really learning about who you are. We have here the Joyous. Oh, I love it because this is all very intense. And I'm like, okay, we need to pick me up. Pile number 3, the Joyous. Look at the dragonflies. Happiness, delight, interaction, open communication. Yeah, that's something that you guys have gotten much more strict about, I feel, with this Justice card here, is open communication. And perhaps sometimes there are things that you guys in the past like shoved down, or feelings that you would have, and you'd be very angry about something, Mars and Scorpio, upset about something, but you wouldn't say anything, the Hermit. You would keep it to yourself, you know? And there's power in your emotions, right? And being able to channel them into like open communication that actually allows for problem solving. But you have to have an equal dance partner in that. If you have somebody who's always turning things around on you, who's always blaming you for shit, who, you know, has a problem like with their ego, never wants to admit that they're wrong about anything, like that's tough. You can't really have open communication with a person like that. And we have goodwill and self-expression. We also have friendly persuasion. And, you know, friendly persuasion is one thing, but like, you know, totally ramrodding another person. And I do feel like this person could be very controlling or bossy or controlling or whatever it was. But I feel like you guys like joking around, and you do like interaction, you do like open communication. You want people to feel like they can be themselves around you and express themselves around you. And perhaps you guys maybe sometimes keeping things pushed underground or hidden a little bit, you know, are learning to be more open communicators about things, or you're going to be delighting in interacting, having friendly communications, right? Just keep in mind, pile number 3, if something is becoming very serious and heavy and just, and it's early on in the connection, it's like, this is weird. This shouldn't be happening, because it should really be like, you know, a joyous time of spending time together and getting to know each other. Of course, there's going to be obstacles to face with people. But if it's literally like a toxic shit fest, then we know that that isn't, you know, what we want. And so I do feel like when you guys let go, like you're gonna, the new people you find in your life are gonna be a lot happier than this person you were with in the past, because I feel like this person wasn't very happy at all, and they took it out on you, is what I feel. Okay, and I feel like you guys had to be the happy, positive person and create this stability in that. But this other person would directly try to ruin it, I feel. And I feel moving it forward, it's very good for you guys to be with people who are just friendly, open communication, light teasing, self-expression, feeling like you can be yourself around somebody. I kind of feel like you couldn't really be fully yourself around this person, pile number 3. So, you know, that joyous feeling of freedom when you just feel like you can say what you're feeling and have really open communication. This is a good thing for you guys to kind of meditate on during this Mars and Scorpio period. Ooh, look at it. Courage and boldness. I love it. And that is so true for Mars in Scorpio. Ooh, look at you guys. Step into courage despite your fears. Oh yeah. Step into courage despite your fears. Be willing to take a risk in order to gain more. Speak your truth. Ooh, I love that. And I do know, like, letting go of something takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of courage, but it's an extremely powerful, proactive action that you can take for yourself that's going to make you feel like a badass spiritual warrior, is what I feel. Pile number 3. So thank you so much for being here, my friends. I hope that that reading resonated for you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. Take care.